For centuries, a massive, highly engineered world lay buried beneath the dust of the Indian subcontinent, entirely forgotten by history. In 1826, a British explorer named Charles Masson was traveling through the Sahiwal district of Punjab. Out in the arid landscape, he stumbled across a sprawling network of enormous, baked brick ruins sticking right out of the dirt. Masson looked at the sheer scale of the structures and drew a logical but completely inaccurate conclusion. He assumed he was standing on the ancient battlefield where Alexander the Great fought the Indian king Porus. Masson was off by about 2,000 years. He was actually looking at the foundations of the Sindhu Sabhyata, the Indus Valley civilization. This chart shows the geographical footprint of the ancient world's major players. While the famous cultures of Egypt and Mesopotamia were confined to relatively narrow river valleys, the Indus Valley civilization spread across 1 million square kilometers, dwarfing its contemporaries combined. In that moment, Masson had inadvertently uncovered the largest, most expansive superpower of the ancient world. The archaeological record shows a steady buildup during the pre-Harappan period, starting around 3500 BCE. But right around 2350 BCE, the society hits a massive technological acceleration, entering what historians call the mature Harappan era. The speed of that urban development puzzled early archaeologists. For decades, colonial-era scholars like Sir Mortimer Wheeler looked at this rapid growth and concluded that the local population couldn't have achieved it alone. Wheeler promoted a foreign origin theory. He argued that the blueprint for civilization, the complex city planning and writing systems, must have migrated eastward from Mesopotamia. Modern archaeology tells a completely different story. Researchers like D.K. Chakrabarty and Gregory Possiel have dismantled the migration theory entirely, proving that the Harappan rise was a distinctly indigenous process. The evidence comes down to resource distribution. The Indian subcontinent is incredibly rich in diverse raw materials, like copper, timber, and semi-precious stones. Because these resources were scattered across different regions, the early Harappans had to build complex, long-distance internal trade networks to move goods around. Managing that volume of domestic trade forced them to invent standardized weights, sophisticated administration, and massive urban centers. The Sindhu Sabhyata grew organically from the ground up, driven entirely by local economic pressure and local ingenuity. We can actually see the results of that ingenuity in the dirt today. The archaeological sites reveal a sharp distinction between a loose collection of farming villages and a highly engineered society. Look at the foundations of these settlements. These cities were laid out on strict geometric grids long before the Greeks or Romans attempted it. Every structure was built using kiln-baked bricks that were perfectly uniform in size and weight across hundreds of miles of territory. Their commitment to public health outpaced many modern municipal networks. Almost every home had access to clean water through private wells, and the streets were lined with covered, subterranean drainage systems. As their internal economy boomed, they expanded outward to the coast, building massive maritime infrastructure in port cities like Lothal and Kuntasi. These ports functioned as the ancient world's shipping hubs. The Harappans loaded up vessels with cotton, jewelry, and crafted goods, navigating the Arabian Sea to dominate global trade routes all the way to the Persian Gulf. To manage international supply chains at that volume, you need strict administrative control. Archaeologists keep finding these intricately carved steatite seals, complete with a standardized yet-to-be-deciphered script, which were used to tag and verify commercial shipments. That constant influx of foreign capital gave them the freedom to master highly technical crafts. We see it in their advanced bronze casting, producing confident works of art that capture a society completely at ease with its own prosperity. The Harappans built an empire without emperors. Through sheer economic gravity and immaculate urban planning, they constructed the ancient world's very first smart cities. Yet, despite their wealth and flawless engineering, the mature Harappan period comes to a quiet end. Around 1750 ECE, the massive urban centers begin to empty out, and the strict grid cities fall into disrepair. There is no thick layer of ash indicating a massive invasion. Instead, the leading archaeological evidence points to the environment. Severe tectonic shifts likely altered the paths of major rivers, causing devastating floods in some areas and severe droughts in others, breaking the agricultural backbone that supported the megacities. As researchers sifted through the ruins of this collapse, they noticed a glaring anomaly. In a society that controlled massive wealth and resources, they found almost zero evidence of specialized weaponry or standing armies. The Harappans maintained their dominance through commerce rather than conquest. While the physical bricks eventually crumbled, their specific cultural DNA, a relentless focus on trade, civic sanitation, and stability, was permanently embedded into the Indian subcontinent. Today, as modern India builds its next generation of megacities, the ruins of Dholavira remain as a reference point. They show how a society can be engineered around public health and trade, a blueprint for urban life that predates the modern era by 4,000 years.